Hey guys, you're here with Levels of Wrestling. We are your official Raw pre-show tonight. We're going to be covering a range of topics from everything we can. Obviously, we're going to cover the clear Sting problem that everyone keeps talking about. Talk a bit of Daniel Bryan, and we're going to cover everything that we expect to happen in Raw. Because 186% of the time, we're always right. Unfortunately, Skeletor can't be with us tonight. He's actually at the main show, so hopefully he enjoys it. But as per usual, we have Chris Lamb with us, we've got Rensis, we've got Paul, and joining us for the first time, we've got James. So, hey guys, how we all doing?
1990.
How we all doing, guys?
Fucking A. Yes, yes, yes.
There goes the PG rating.
Straight away, 2 minutes in, and we've already gone more than PG. Great.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now TV14. Welcome to the Attitude Era.
Okay, so just to clear it up, guys, tonight we're gonna try and avoid as many spoilers as we can.
I'll be quite honest, as much as I loved Attitude Era, although it did have some flaws, I loved the Ruthless Aggression Era a lot more. That's just my opinion. I'm not shitting on the Attitude Era, it's just personal preference.
Okay, welcome to
It was a balance between both, it was in the middle of kid and adult.
Yep.
Kind of like where WWE is now, really, to put it simply. Oh.
And hello to M.
Yeah, hey Ranzers, how's it going?
This is my first proper Google Hangout with wrestling fans who have actually given a shit to pay attention not only to my videos, which I thank all of you for checking out, if you already have.
You have videos?
And someone, and for all of you that have welcomed me to join you, it's much appreciated, it is much needed, and we will be doing this more often. Rock on.
Well, guys, if you've got any Twitter fans out there that are listening tonight, I want you to go and ask them, bring in any questions they've got, and we will answer as many as we can on the show. So I'm going to start everyone off with the first question that we got from...
before you start, can I say, what about Facebook questions and statuses that we get in our news feed? Because I get a lot of those. I'm like to 20 wrestling, 40, 60 plus wrestling pages on Facebook.
Yeah, no problem, man. We'll talk about that too. To start off with, we've got this first question from Slick Nick on Twitter. Who do you think will be the next star or stars to come up to the main roster, and how and when do you think they'll do it?
Sami Zayn, 100%. 100%.
Let's start with Chris, and we'll do it one at a time.
100% Sami Zayn. If he does not come up before then, I fully expect to see him as the entry in the Royal Rumble. For the past, 2 years, we've seen Rusev, we've seen Bo Dallas. I fully expect to see someone like Sami Zayn come up, eliminate someone, make themselves look big and impressive, and make themselves really come over with the crowd. That's what Sami Zayn would have to be my bet.
Cool. What about you, James? Who have you got?
Oh, shit. There's been a lot of fantastic NXT talent come out to the roster. Triple H, unlike some people say, Triple H has done fucking wonders for NXT and the company as a whole since Finn has letting him take in the reins. So, I'm gonna pick, because I'm from England and favourite football team is Newcastle, I'm gonna go with my NXT favourite, Adrian Neville. And I'm gonna say Royal Rumble would be the safest way to bring Neville up to the main roster, even if it's not full-time on the main roster, but kind of like they did with Bo Dallas, who is, by the way, Bo Dallas is just a cancer and looks like a child child molester. Don't even go there. I would say Adrian Neville being brought up in the Royal Rumble would be great for him to show the crowd that the man that gravity forgot. Adrian Neville is fantastic. Bo Dallas, Bo leave your ass out of that fucking doorway. Bo Dallas is just cancerous.
Cool.
And one last thing, sorry. Why was Bo Dallas brought up to the main roster after butchering the NXT Championship after it was barely defended and Adrian Neville is pure fucking brilliance? Pardon my...
We're going to touch on that. That's a big topic that I want to cover. So, Paul, who would you say would be the next guy to come up from NXT?
I'm going to go with the Ascension. It just makes sense to, that we've only got a couple, that it seems like they want to be bolstering the tag team ranks. The Usos and the Wyatts, they're just killing it right now. So why not add a third team into that? And I can see it happening before the Royal Rumble. So I'm going the Ascension.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. We've, we all over the last few weeks have spoke about the Ascension. So, Rentis, who have you got? If you're still with us, man.
Francis, hello?
Who?
Okay, well, until Rentis gets back, I'll tell you what. I actually agree with Paul. I think the next group that will get up from NXT will be the Ascension. But that's purely for the fact that WWE needs to balance this really clever. They've got a good balance on NXT at the moment of stars that people want to see. So if you take away those must-see stars and you put them on the main roster, what purpose do they have for watching NXT other than the fact that it's a WWE product?
But
so
you've also
take the Ascension up and you put them on the main roster, you're showcasing their talent, and it shows that NXT tag teams can be that good. So if they bring them up now, say maybe after SummerSlam, you could have a nice little introduction to the team, and then they can play through towards Survivor Series, where obviously you've got the chance to have the Rhodes Brothers, you've got the Wyatts, you've then got the Usos and the Ascension, so you've got 4 teams.
Right.
The problem you've then got though is, as you've said, you've got a nice balance. The problem you've got to have is you've got to have a nice balance on NXT. What other tag teams do you have on NXT other than the Ascension that are ready to put on a tag team show? There's not really many. You can't really. I don't think it's great to bring the Ascension up until you've got somebody else on NXT to take that spot.
Put Zayn and Steen together.
The Vaudevillains are doing okay at the moment. I can't remember who's in the team. The names slipped my mind, but the Vaudevillains are doing good.
I know, yeah.
You've got Kalisto and El Local. I mean, those two teams are going at it at the minute, so...
Put Steen and Sami Zayn together once Kevin Steen gets there.
Yes, I think Steen is going to be a fantastic talent once he gets to NXT, and the fact that they've got Zayn still down there is going to be a perfect feud for those two to start off with.
I only worry that they're going to make the same thing they did with... they're going to do with Sami Zayn what they did with Chris Hero. They're going to keep him in NXT and say, oh, he'll be a good draw, but they're not going to pull him up. And if they don't pull him up, that's going to be it.
I can understand where Chris is coming from, and especially with the Ascension part, it would be better for the Ascension to come up to the main roster when the time is ready, when there is another tag team with great showmanship like the Ascension, the Wyatts, etc., on NXT, that will be able to fill that void, so there's no fuck-ups with booking and storylines, where it's going to smooth and level out, and then the there I can speak, I swear, where the tag team division on NXT will still be the cream of the crop and the icing on the cake.
Yeah, I think there's a good opportunity, obviously, like you said, some tag teams on NXT. But primarily at the moment, NXT is focusing younger singles talents to bring them up to the roster, which, again, is a good thing, but we do need more tag teams, like you're saying. But in order to have tag teams brought up to the roster without throwing guys together, needs to be worked on in NXT. And right now, until they put more teams together, they're going to have to at least say the Ascension are ready to move. Because, unfortunately, either they're ready to move or they're ready to walk out the door. Because as we've discussed before, guys are pushing, mid-30s at the moment. And in WWE, that tends to be the standard age limit for when guys start leaving.
That's a good point. The other issue I've then got is you could then I would like to see if the Ascension get called up to the main roster, rather
Survivor Series.
rather than have them drop the titles to someone. I would rather they vacate the titles in the way Paige did, so that you could then put these tag teams together and let them try and mesh with that. That would give NXT tag teams a good way to possibly try and find somebody else to replace the Ascension.
Perfect.
Yeah.
With vacating the titles, sorry Chris, you just made me think there. With vacating the titles on NXT, it's like all the tag teams, and just bear with me on this, all the tag teams that are in the back of NXT that are desperate to prove themselves but ain't got the balls to come out, all those tag teams, right? This is like ambushing your prey in a hunting game, right? All the teams will come out and just be begging for a shot at those tag titles. The tag team division will explode everywhere, spread like a disease. NXT's tag team division will, and this is a weird thing to say, will boost the main tag team division on WWE's main roster, even though the brand split means fuck all now. Even though that the tag division on Raw and SmackDown is doing pretty well, there are a couple of cancers, which I will say that Titus O'Neil being in 3MB is pointless, but that's a whole different discussion. It'll boost the tag titles on Raw and SmackDown to mean something a lot more, which the Usos have been doing fantastic with. And I predict also that the Wyatts will win at Battleground. And the Ascension versus the Wyatts at Survivor Series. Team Ascension versus Team Wyatts. Fantasy book.
I'd like to point out, by the way, James, in case you don't know, and for anybody who is watching that doesn't know, I have a friend who sometimes listens to this and is always talking to me on Facebook. He's pointed out Justin Gabriel, Tyson Kidd. To me, if you're in the NXT division, give the titles to Justin Gabriel, Tyson Kidd, let them work with the NXT tag team division, bring them up, train them, help them work and grow.
Yep, I was thinking that too.
What are you talking about here?
Hey man, how's it going? These are all great ideas.
Oh, brother!
I'd just like to give a shout out to John Russell for that.
Okay, so while these are all great ideas, and we all know that NXT is a great place for, stars to come up and actually do their thing, do you think there's going to be a point where we have too many stars in NXT? Because as we've seen at the moment, WWE have a huge mid-card section to their roster. And while this isn't really an issue, they've dabbled in the idea of unifying titles. If they unify titles, do they then run the issue of having too many talents not doing things? Or do they run the risk of having too many people running for one title? So I just want to get your thoughts on that. Chris, what do you think on that?
Well, basically, I think that, yeah, you're right. The mid-card at the moment in WWE is a bit of a mess. It's something they need to start working on, building a new upper card, which is something that we've started seeing them do with people like Roman Reigns, Ambrose Rollins, those kind of guys. They're being built up again, which is nice to see. But yeah, you're at a very good point where are we going to end up with too many talents in NXT? This brings me to fantasy booking for a second, because something I would love to see is an NXT invasion angle. Similar to the Nexus, but on a whole scale of the whole NXT roster, which could be goddamn awesome.
Okay, I think that, it's a good idea, but I think just quickly, you run the issue then that you've got too many guys from NXT trying to come up to the main roster.
Yeah, this is the issue. Right now, you go look at the NXT roster at the moment, you've got quite a few people that are either ready or borderlining ready. I wouldn't say, I'd say Tyler Breeze is about ready, for example. I'd say Sami Zayn, I'd say The Ascension, I'd say Kalisto, and Locale, possibly, depending on what you want to do with him. You've got guys like Corey Graves down there, you've got Tyson Kidd and Justin Gabriel. I think NXT is already getting a little bit even the guys lower down are just being built. You know, you've got who's that new guy? Something, Bull something or other. I forgot his name. My friend keeps telling me who he is. I forget who he is. But absolutely awesome guy. You know, I do think NXT is becoming a bit too full, and I think we're going to see a few more people from WWE probably drop down from the main show down into NXT and then get released, which will just make NXT even more full for a little while. Cool. I think it's a problem they're going to have.
So, Paul, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously, this is, you know, you've watched wrestling for a while now, so you know the mid-card has been kind of slacking in storyline, so to say. So, would you make them go for 2 titles, or would you have them drop out and go to NXT? What do you think that?
Well, as far as the titles go, I mean, you can only have so many guys revolving around a title, but it's what we need is more stories. You know, you know that's what needs to be done. You know, we need to have more stories for these undercard guys, so they don't have to be chasing the crutch of a title.
Yeah, you know, I agree. I think there was a time, even going back to the Attitude Era, where you had guys like Val Venus facing Rikishi just because they had some kind of run-in backstage.
Yeah, everybody had something to do.
Yeah.
You know, even the smallest guys on the roster, they still had a story. They still had something. I mean, you know, right now the in-ring quality is as good as it's ever been, but matches don't always make stories. So
yeah, I think
that's how you gotta start there.
I think part of that's down to creative as well. I mean, like, we talk back to the 90s and everyone had a story. That was partially down to Vince Russo, who was, you know, he'd throw in swerves, but admittedly, guys were always working. It didn't matter what they were doing. They would have a story.
Yep.
So, James,
it's not a problem of talent at this point.
Right.
I mean,
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, man.
Oh, right. Sorry, I thought there was some technical issues.
No, it's good. What we do is we ask each person their opinion, and then we start muting people until we can get through everyone.
Ah, right, yeah. Let's not end up with a Jeremy Kyle session.
Exactly.
Oh, God. Regarding the NXT roster and your opinions on it being crowded and whatnot, and too many people being brought up, I can understand that, but and this is not a nitpick, this is just from what I've seen, I don't think they're bringing too many people up at once. I believe that they are doing the right thing with budget cuts and releasing talents, even though if those talents are very good, although I'd like to see Bo Dallas and Tyler Breeze get released, but that's just dream on. Like how they're, because if you think about it, put the NXT roster, which includes the Divas as well, the NXT Divas, the NXT men and women, right? The same with the thing in Raw and SmackDown roster. You combine all of those, you have a roster of at least about 200 plus athletes, maybe, right? I think that's a bit of a problem because I think with unifying the championships at TLC, great idea. Although I still think Cena should have won, but that's just a matter of opinion. But match was great either way, right? From what I've been hearing, unifying the Intercontinental Championship and United States Championship is just showing that there is possible laziness from the creative team and, pardon my French for saying this, but plain fucking stupid, right? There is so much prestige and history behind those two championships. Continental Championship, I'll chuck out some examples. Kurt Hennig, aka Mr. Perfect, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, I believe Owen Hart at one time, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong. Just a shot in the dark, but Chris Benoit. Probably shouldn't have said that, but
No, no, that's cool.
mind. United States Championship, Lex Luger, and of course, on a record-breaking 5 or 6 reigns, Ric Flair. Woo! And most recently, I will say Antonio Cesaro with the 250-day reign, which was fan-bloody-tastic. And I'm currently enjoying Sheamus's reign as United States Champion. Loving it. Unifying those two titles, bad idea. It'll screw up the magic that those two titles bring to the table. They've recently been doing a lot with the Intercontinental and United States Championship. I love Ambrose to death, but his reign was getting stale. It was hardly defended. And that's not a dig at Ambrose, that's just booking, which, why didn't we go there? Too long of a ramble, right? Those two titles, on their own, are making name for themselves again, since it was killed off by freaking Kofi Kingston when he beat Cesaro for the title last year or whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Tell you what,
That's my piece.
Ranters, what's your thoughts on this? I mean, let's just give a quick opinion. Hello, Ranters, you there?
Pardon?
Ranters, are you kicking around?
What, me?
Yeah, what's your opinion on this?
Oh, finally! I thought you were going to ignore me for the whole thing. No, I think. What?
No, on you go, it's your opinion.
Thank God. Well, I agree with everything this game. Sorry, James. I accidentally called you gay. I'm so sorry. But
Anyway.
I agree. What?
Anyway, go on.
Yeah. I agree entirely. I don't know what else you want me to say, but what James said is nothing more than the truth.
Fair enough. Okay, so with that in mind, I mean, a lot of us, we all agree, you know, there could be a lot to go on for the mid-card. James, you made a point about having two titles. Chris, I think you wanted to say something. You were talking about getting a word in.
Yeah, sure. What I was basically going to say was a matter of the issue that we had of Brock Lesnar possibly coming back, and if Brock Lesnar was to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, he would disappear for however many months it's going to be, which leaves two titles on the card, being the IC and the US title. If you're then going to unify those two titles, you have one title on the card and one title only being defended at pay-per-views, which means that you either have to A, have good writers to write stories, which the company does not have right now by the look of it, or B, another title to fill the gap. The fact is that, like I said, they don't have the writers, they don't have Vince Russo anymore. They don't seem to be creative enough to come up with storylines for the mid-card, for the lower card. I mean, you know, with the exception of maybe Jericho Wyatt, which is just a stereotypical, oh, I'm just going to attack people. You know, other than that, they haven't really done anything creative to create any feuds with people. How they've been more creative with Cameron and Naomi in the past few weeks than they have with the main roster in a lot of sense.
Yeah, do you know what? I agree. Let's just talk about that for a bit. Obviously, creative is a big issue at the minute. Vince himself fired the creative director, maybe 2 months ago? Obviously, he wasn't a big part. He was only delegated tasks those below him. But if you're going to be the head of directing and the head of creative, surely you should be in step to say that you can do these things and you can create a creative story. Now, one of the big issues I've got is it's not that we're recycling stories, and it's not that we're not having lots of stories. It's that a lot of the time WWE focus on fans that, you know, there are fans that come in weekly and they watch it every single week without fail. But then you've got the fans that watch it maybe once every 6 or 7 weeks. And obviously WWE caters to their needs a little bit more because they want to try keep viewers in. But if they want creative to be able to do that on their own, I think they need to be able to say, what story have we got that we can do long term, and how many stories have we got that can sit comfortably short term? And I don't want to say TNA have been good at this, because TNA have been fairly bad at this in the past. Creative issues disappear very quickly in TNA. They'll come up with a story, then they'll disappear. I give you the example of Samoa Joe being taken away by ninjas, right? That was random, and it didn't happen in the past. And a lot of people forget about it, but that could have been a big story. Situations like this could be really good, and WWE forgets them as well.
You mean like the anonymous GM is Hornswoggle issue?
Yes, exactly. Now, off the top of my head, I can think of at least 3 storylines that could be going on just now. So if you could pick 2 guys to put them into a 6-month feud, and I say 6 months because that's what we used to get, what would you say, or sorry, who would you say would be suitable for a 6-month feud? Let's start with Paul.
Let's see, long-term feud. Wow, that's a good one. Let's see. Let's base it around the title. So we'll have Cena and Lesnar, I guess. And then and then the whole peripheral of Paul Heyman basically is that it would be John Cena versus Paul Heyman. So Heyman's going to keep throwing guys at Cena. It's the classic Hogan booking of every month. Well, now it's every month. A different monster is going after Cena.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, actually. It's very straightforward. You've got your main guy in the company. He's selling tickets. He's making money. And then you've got the ass kicker.
Yeah, because he's not going anywhere. If Daniel Bryan was still healthy, it would be Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar for me, where Bryan would still be champ. He'd lose the title at SummerSlam. And then you would have the 5-6 months build of him, chasing the title.
Yeah, that's cool. James, just quickly, what do you have that you would put into a 6-month long feud?
Oh, can I say for future fantasy booking?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, yes. I'm gonna pick 2 feuds actually, and I know these are probably gonna sound generic as fuck, but I don't bloody care. I loved their stuff in TNA. I'm gonna say Sting and Hogan. Why? Even if it's not gonna turn into a match, a Hogan match is something I hope we talk about in this hangout at some point, but I'll get to that in a bit. Sting and Hogan have had great chemistry, whether it be in the ring and on promos. People can love and hate them because they're still going for all they want. I do not care. People would be bitching and complaining if they retired already. But their feud that Sting and Hogan had in TNA, you could do that in WWE, right? Battling for the general manager position. Has it been overdone? Yes, but it works. Austin versus Vince McMahon was a bloody good example. Look how great that rivalry was. But that went on for shitloads of years. Sting and Hogan in WWE would be great because they could also drag out, not drag out as in a bad drag out, but drag out some of the younger talent into it. And this is just fantasy booking, but if you think about this, with younger talent in the same ring as 2 of the...
Okay, so he's dropped out. I don't know what happened there. Chris, just off the top of your head, which guys would you have into a 6-month booking?
6-month booking, fantasy feud would be Punk and Austin, obviously, not going to happen. So being more realistic here, I would actually go with Jericho and Wyatt.
Jericho and Wyatt, 6 months. It's good.
You see them playing off the whole Rockstar gimmick and the whole, the whole world in his hands, and Jericho's got the whole world in his hands.
I think that's a damn good choice, actually, because, like you said, the Rockstar gimmick. Rockstars have a cult following. Bray Wyatt has a cult following, and he could acknowledge that for a change.
Yeah, I would actually very much love to admit, just to see Jericho say that these are the Jerichoholics, and then you just have Bray Wyatt come out and just laugh and say something along the lines of, No, they're not. They follow me. I am the leader. They are my sheep. I am their shepherd. And then, we could move on from the whole world in his hands to singing something about being their shepherd or something like that. I think that would be a very, very, very good way to take Wyatt up to a next level. Putting with, my only concern is that with Cena, I felt like because Cena's not a very three-dimensional character at times, it kind of limited Wyatt. Whereas with Jericho, you could get multiple angles. You could get him bring out a more aggressive side of Jericho. You could get Jericho, trying to get it back. Really, that's something I would love to see for 6 months.
That'd be good. Okay, so ranters, what have you got? 6 months, realistically. Which guys or girls would you put into a feud and say that could be entertaining for a full 6-month long feud?
Alright, one, you can just call me Mike, since it's just one of them.
That helps.
And two, I honestly have no idea. I'm honestly gonna say Jack Swagger and Rusev, honestly.
I think Swagger Rusev is actually a good choice. It could go on. However, the issue with that, I find, is that at some point, one of them would have to lose.
Well, of course it's gonna have to be Rusev, honestly. You can't have... If they're gonna go through with this rivalry, they better not make Jack Swagger look like a bitch. That's all I'm asking, honestly. Have a good, long, intense, personal Russia versus USA rivalry, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice. Obviously, we've got a bit of Jack Swagger Rusev at the minute, and I think that's going to become official for either Battlegrounds or SummerSlam. Most likely for Battlegrounds, I find, because I've got a funny feeling they're going to move on to bigger things for SummerSlam or have a rematch there with at least a gimmick. Now, with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about Raw tonight. Obviously, we're back in America now. Where do you see Jack Swagger coming out, and do you see him getting the same reaction that he did last time? Because last time that was a huge face pop for the guy. So Chris, do you think he's going to get that?
Well, this is the problem you've got. I think that because of where you go in the country, you're going to get different reactions. I've noticed that East Coast, West Coast, etc., you'll always get a different reaction. You'll get the marks and the fans and the casual fans and everything else. But you'll always have the patriotic Americans. So I'm going to have to say, yeah, I think he's going to get a good reaction. I'm not sure how good of a reaction he's going to get. Because, if he ends up... where is it tonight?
Tonight, Richmond.
Okay, I'm not sure if that's a marked town or not, but if it is, I can expect him to possibly still get booed. If it's a casual town, I can definitely expect the USA chance.
Cool. James, what's your thoughts? Do you think Swagger will still get a big face pop tonight? Or do you think he's just going to get that minimal pop that he usually gets with a couple of We the People chants? James, you there? No. Okay. Mike, what about you, man? Do you think that Swagger is going to get a decent pop, or do you think he's just going to get the small pop as usual?
I don't want to sound over-biased for Swagger, but I think he's probably going to get the minimal pop. Because, Jack Swagger is not really a big name anyway. He's not like a Daniel Bryan or a John Cena or, that kind of stuff. So I don't really expect, that big of a reaction. I mean, a couple of cheers now and again, but nothing like the pop he got when he became a face. Like,
No
see where I'm
problem.
coming?
Yeah, I agree. Just to take a minute, I think the pop that he got that first week was great because the promo that Zeb gave, obviously Zeb's going to have to deliver, and he probably will deliver every single week with a decent promo like that. But they have to find a way to mix it up. And with this idea at Battleground, if it's Swagger and Rusev, they either need to make Swagger lose and go on the defense so that he gets a rebound match at SummerSlam, or there needs to be a screwy finish and they need to hope for the best. So,
guys, I'm sorry about that. This bloody link crashed on me for some reason. Did you guys catch anything I said?
No, man. Do you think Swagger's going to get a smaller pop tonight, or do you think it's going to be a regular pop that he gets?
Sorry about that, guys. The stream crashed and I couldn't friggin' do anything about it. Sorry.
No problem. Do you think Swagger's going to get a regular pop tonight, James, or do you think he's going to get that big pro-America thing again?
Right. Before I answer that, the question you asked me about the 2 6-month feuds in WWE, I'll say it right now. Sting and Taker, which needs to happen, dream match. And for the rivalry in history, in terms of promos and everything, to help out with younger talent and battling for control of, like, the general manager position, Sting and Hogan. Right. Answering the question of Swagger. Swagger, where is Raw tonight? Richmond?
Yeah.
That's, somewhere in America. My geography is shit, guys. Sorry. I think with the way they're building up this Swagger Rusev thing, which the match will be freaking beastly, Swagger's going to get the bigger pop.
Yeah, and Swagger's going to win.
Yeah, I think Swagger will get the bigger pop. You know, talking about Raw and Richmond tonight, the big thing that everyone's talking about, and I think we should probably discuss this, is the possibility of Sting. We saw the tweets he sent out this week. For those of you who haven't seen the tweets, he first sent out a photo with his face painted, sitting in the darkness, and the second tweet he sent out was a photo, well, it was just a clean tweet of the date for Monday Night Raw. So my first question to you guys, just in a quick yes or no, does Sting make an appearance tonight? Just yes or no. Chris, you first.
Doubt it.
So that's a no, yeah?
That's a 60% no.
Cool. Mike, what do you think? Sting shows up, yes or no?
No!
Good answer. James, yes or no?
Oh, I love that. A physical, actual appearance of Steve Borden himself tonight, I don't see happening. I see a video package of him making his debut tonight, but if there's going to be a Sting debut, and let's think about this, it'll either be SummerSlam or I will bet a bag of weed that 20 quid's worth that it will be at Survivor Series possibly, because that's where Sting Taker debuted back in 1990. So if Sting debuts at Survivor Series, there's a bit of a connection there, and you could start to get into Undertaker's head. Just fantasy booking. So my answer is no, but I'm wishful thinking.
Cool. You know what? I posted this week about possibilities that could happen with Sting, so I just want to run through a few of those with you guys. Basically, first one off the top of my head is they announce him for the Hall of Fame, and they announce him as part of the game. This is, you know, the straightforward option that a lot of people are going with. That he's going to be the pre-order. No problem with that at all. In fact, that's the most likely option, so I'm not expecting anything more. Now, the other option I gave, which is personally my fantasy for this, it makes a lot more sense. You put Undertaker as your pre-order bonus. Who doesn't want to play as the Undertaker, right? You put him in the game, he's the legend, everyone wants to play as him. So you get a lot of pre-orders straight away, and they make a lot of money. Now, as they announced this, that he tweeted that out, and, you know, the Undertaker gets announced as being the pre-order. Once Triple H says, you're going to be in the game, and we're going to put you into the Hall of Fame, before he gets to finish the word Hall of Fame, you have Sting come out, and you tell him he doesn't get to go into the Hall of Fame before they have their one match. Now, a lot of people are saying this match isn't going to happen, which I understand. A lot of people don't want to see it, right? A lot of people don't. They don't understand the money behind it, and they don't understand the options behind it. However, if Sting and The Undertaker feel they are capable, you can bet your bottom dollar WWE are going to put that onto a pay-per-view, and it's going to be WrestleMania. That's a fact. There's no streak on the line. They don't have to go with it. It's just going to happen. So, Chris, what do you see happening with Sting? Do you see it just being the video game, or are you just going off it?
I see it being the video game. I don't see Undertaker as a pre-order bonus purely because he's been every other WWE game. If they turned around now and said he's a pre-order bonus, you're going to have people saying, well, what the hell? You know, you've been able to play as him every other time, now you're saying he's a pre-order only. I think it would make more sense to see Sting as a pre-order character. I do like the idea of the Hall of Fame thing, though, when the Hall of Fame announcements start coming around and you see The Undertaker or Sting get called out and you see either one of the other comes out and says one match before you go in, blah blah blah. That'd be absolutely awesome. I do fully expect, however, to see Damien Sting down tonight. Just saying, my friend's telling me to throw that out there. Damien Sting down should be happening tonight.
Yeah, I fully expect Sting Dow to show. If we don't get Sting Dow, I think we're either going to get some kind of Flair knockoff, because obviously he was at Madison Square Garden last night. That's another option. So we'll see. Mike, sorry. What do you think will happen with Sting if and when he eventually shows up?
I have no clue.
No clue at all.
No, I honestly don't care.
Okay, well, that's a good question then. Do you are you bothered by him coming to WWE, or are you just happy to let it happen and move on from it?
What? Are you asking if I'm bothered by Sting coming to WWE?
Yes. So you're bothered by it?
Yes.
Ouch. Okay. We'll tell you what, we'll come back to that. James, do you have a problem with Sting coming to WWE? You're obviously quite a TNA fan. Are you happy to see him coming to WWE now?
Oh, dude! Let's just say, whoever doesn't want to see Sting and Taker clearly doesn't understand. That is the mother and parenting of all wrestling dream matches, if I may say so. Right? I will personally say Goldberg and Taker is the personal fave and Cena versus Hogan. But if we're talking about the colossal butt-raping dream matches, Sting and Taker is number one. You cannot deny it. It is the most talked about match that has not happened, that should happen. It's been talked about for, 20 plus years? And we're getting that fucking close. Seriously! I am having a nerdgasm just thinking about it. That is actually a word, by the way. Just, if it happens, I predict this. Lesnar broke the streak. Sting is the one that retired the dead man. Hall of Fame, both. Hall of Fame. Just enough said. Seriously, you can't talk about that match without having a nerdgasm and having a mind explode.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking, right? Obviously, if we do get Sting Taker, and this is the big if, because obviously people are wary about it. If we get Sting Taker, one, WrestleMania for next year is sold already. That will be your money match. Two, if we do get Sting Taker, guaranteed that they're going to have a good match. It's going to be clean. Taker is going over. It doesn't matter. Taker will go over because Sting will tell him that he can be the one to do it. They will have their big match, and it will be a show of respect in much the way that many people have expected it to happen. They can't have a screwy finish, and they can't have, a dirty pin. If it's going to be one match only, they need to fight like they've never fought before and make it count. Because here's the kicker. If this is going to be the last match for both guys and their retirement matches, they need to make it damn memorable and not a flop. Because many people are already saying this match would be a flop if it happens. Look at the state of Taker, and look at the way Sting was in TNA. The understanding is, it doesn't matter to the hardcore fans about that match. The casual fans are going to be the ones that are paying for WrestleMania. Because as hardcore fans, all of us know we're going to pay for Mania whether or not that match happens. And I say pay for lightly, because realistically, I don't mean this in a knock to WWE. Many USA fans all have the network. Many British fans, sadly, all stream illegally. That's just how it goes. Now, going back onto Raw, another big issue with Sting Taker is obviously the GM spot with the Authority at the moment. So I obviously want to talk a bit about the Authority. What do you see happening tonight with the Authority, Chris?
With the Authority, I'm not entirely sure. I'd just like to jump back for 1 second because I was hoping you would let me jump in at some point. The only problem with being muted. Undertaker Sting. You mentioned Undertaker has to win. I would much rather see Sting win, and the music that we saw, the unreleased music where it's the Undertaker's theme played on the piano so softly, him be carried out by the Druids to that, there would not be a dry eye in the house.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think that piece of music itself is beautiful as well.
That I'm telling you, man, if either the Hall of Fame, his final match, or God forbid, when Undertaker does die in real life, if that single piece of music is played on either a video package or as he's carried out, there won't be a dry eye in the house. That would be amazing. Back to your question though about the Authority. I'm not entirely sure. I expect to see something with Rollins again, try and cash in, and Ambrose again screws Rollins, because that seems to be the ongoing thing right now. Reigns, I expect to see possibly try and get screwed, 2-on-1. Yeah, I expect to see them go after Reigns, then go after Cena, that kind of thing. I don't really see much happening. I can see the Authority opening Raw again, though.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm not entirely sure.
Cool. Paul, what's your thoughts? Welcome back, by the way. Mate,
Thanks.
what do you see happening with the Authority?
Oh, I see them just picking up business as usual. Last week was actually really nice to not have to have an opening 15-minute diatribe by the Authority. It was a nice change of pace, which I'm sure will not happen tonight. It looks like that there was a big 6-man tag signed for the night, so that's something to look forward to. But it's just holding pattern, usual nonsense until we get to SummerSlam. So, sacrifice the short term for the long term. So.
Yeah. James, just quickly, what's your thoughts on the Authority, man?
Fucking hell. First off, big fan of Triple H. Whether he's a face or a heel, I don't care.
Yeah,
I am so looking forward to the opening of Raw, because even if it's Triple H and Stephanie McMahon opening Raw again, I don't mind. I'm a big fan. I'll take it for what it is. I do not care. I love how the whole Rollins and Ambrose thing is going on, because that is going to be a candidate, I say, for match of the year. Roman Reigns and Triple H is bound to happen at SummerSlam, and big fan of Roman Reigns. His spear is just as devastating as Goldberg, as I have Goldberg's tattoo. In terms of what's going to happen on Raw with the Authority and the broken up members of the Shield, we're going to get more of Ambrose and Rollins beltering the crap out of each other. We're going to get massive, massive crowd reactions for Roman Reigns. Reigns is by far, and I say this, and this is bold as anything, but this is bold statement, but Roman Reigns is going to be WWE's #1 guy, as John Cena is starting to slow down a bit with the mid-card.
Okay, cool. Mike, Authority tonight. What is your, what's your opinions on what's going to happen?
Sorry, what's that? I didn't catch that.
The Authority tonight. How do you see things going down? Because obviously they weren't on last week's show. Do you see them being a bigger part this year? This week?
I have no idea, honestly, because I don't. Like, the thing with the Authority is I don't know what they're doing with them at the minute. I mean, yeah, they've got Rollins and the Money in the Bank, but I haven't really seen Triple H or Stephanie do anything that, like, do the usual, oh, this is best for business, oh, this guy's a B+, blah, 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 the usual propaganda. Yes, I said propaganda, deal with it. And you said they weren't on last week, right?
Yeah, they weren't on last week.
Oh, well, didn't watch last week, so I was busy with the World Cup. Haha. Anyway, who knows? They might be on this week, or they might not be. I think I'm gonna go with the whole just wait and see stuff. And like, if they're gonna be on, they're gonna be on. If they're not, they're not.
Cool. Um, you know what? The authority angle has run so well this year. I thought it was going to flop much sooner than it has. Um, we got a question as well on Twitter that I just want to throw past you guys. What do you see as the greatest feud or greatest storyline that WWE has ever had, in your opinion? We'll go with Paul first. What's your thought?
Wow, greatest storyline that WWE has ever had? Not just all of wrestling, or just WWE?
Just WWE was the question.
I guess I'm gonna have to go with Austin McMahon. I guess. I mean, it's the easiest one with Jake the Snake and Rick Martel, a close second after Jake got blinded by arrogance.
I think they're actually really good choices. Just on top of that, as a personal question, what would you say is the best spot to ever happen?
The best spot to ever happen?
Yeah.
What do you mean, like in a match?
Yeah, like for example, the whole Mankind coming off the top of the South.
Oh Christ, that is the first one coming to mind is Edge spearing Mick Foley through the fiery table.
Good choice.
I like that, but actually probably and then a part of me wants to say Hogan slamming Andre.
Ooh, good, yeah. Chris, what about you, man? What is your favorite storyline told by WWE?
My favourite storyline, well, we all know I'm a Punk mark, so I'm going to go Punk Taker for one, because I loved the whole stuff with Paul Bearer's Urn. I think that was a great tribute to Paul Bearer. It was a great tribute to, his entire career in wrestling as a manager, as a big fan of the sport, and well, sports entertainment. Also, possibly Taker Shawn Michaels the second time around had a very good story to it. I've got to go with that, really. I mean, the whole Shawn Michaels losing his mind, and I remember at the Royal Rumble when he got eliminated, and he was like, "No, this is my chance," and he started super kicking people, and I was like, "Yes, that was the kind of stuff I wanted to see." Great storyline. As for your next question, the greatest spot,
Yeah.
it obviously has to be Mankind and Taker, because Mick Foley really showed right there and then. One, you don't have to be a big muscle. I've always loved Mick Foley. You don't have to be a big muscled guy to be a wrestler. You can be a little bit out of shape for it. But the injuries that he sustained going off of that, and even going through the cell later on in that match, were really iconic to me, in the sense that it showed, you see a lot of. Let's look at the World Cup, for example. Someone gets tackled. Oh no, my leg! Oh, my leg! My leg! He spends on the floor for 3 minutes. Mick Foley's got one of his teeth shoved up his nose, and he's getting off of the stretcher, going back to the Hell in a Cell for round 2. So to me, Taker and Mick Foley, that spot with Foley coming off, Mankind coming off the top of the Hell in a Cell, that has got to be the best spot ever.
Cool. Mike, what about yourself, man? What is your favorite storyline told by WWE?
I actually got two candidates. One would probably have to be the Alberto Del Rio Jack Swagger thing, because it's, the usual USA versus Mexico political kind of rivalry, and that's really the stuff I'm into, kinda. That's always been like my thing. And another one, I will say the Edge and Lita storyline, because it was so well written. Like, it got a reaction out of me. It made me, like, it got the actual emotion out of me, and it actually got me reacting, and because it was so well written. Like, I don't even know how the fuck to word it. It was like, I was like so pulling for Edge and Lita, and anything that happened to them, I automatically got mad, because that's how well written the whole storyline was. And coming up with the fact that it was like, you know, starting in real life and then made public and blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
That,
I think that is a great choice of feuds actually. What is your favorite spot then of all time?
oh, sport. Again, I'm probably gonna have multiple ones. One would probably be where Sheamus powerbombed Sin Cara through a ladder at Money in the Bank. That was quite cool. And another one would be where Matt Hardy came back at WrestleMania 24 and attacked MVP while MVP was climbing the ladder. I mean, the moment, the scenery was like, I felt the sense of, you know, the vibe I got from watching. I was like, it's like Matt Hardy is really gonna get himself signed. He doesn't care that MVP took him out. You know, he's gonna get his hands on MVP, and he just literally cost him the match. And I know that happens constantly, but I don't know, just something about Matt Hardy doing it to MVP felt special, in my opinion. I don't even know what really.
I think that's those are two great choices, and I'm actually going to hit on something that you've just said there in a minute. So, James, what is your favorite all-time story?
Oh, dude, this one is so piss easy for me. If are we just talking WWE?
Just WWE.
Right. Damn. Easily, by far, Batista versus Undertaker. A 3+ year rivalry, nearly, that spanned of two behemoths beating the shit out of each other. And the stories they told every time they got in that fucking ring. They fought harder and harder and harder, and Batista really did take off some years off Taker's career, if you think about it. Arguably my favorite match from Batista is Batista and Taker at Backlash 2007. I didn't care who was going to win. I was just beyond in the match. The match was freaking immense, and my favorite spot has probably got to be Batista spearing Taker off the stage. No one saw it coming. Just nobody. Oh, dude! Batista, in my eyes, was my pick, realistically, to end Taker's streak at WrestleMania 23.
Cool. Right.
Oh.
Let's hit on something Mike just said there. I think it's great, because obviously everyone in here has watched wrestling for some time. And Mike, you said something about, it's your personal opinion and it got you. Each WWE story will hit each fan in a different way. And the best thing about that is we all take stories differently. Now, you were saying about the Edge and Lita thing. For me, I wasn't really pulling for Edge and Lita, I was pulling for Matt Hardy. That's because I like the underdog in that story. But because you said that you were into the Edge and Lita thing, that shows that there's so much diversity within the wrestling community, and I refuse to call us a universe. But the fact is, they can tell us what's good and they can tell us what's bad. Right now, you've got people loving Roman Reigns, and you've got a good handful of people disliking how he's being handled so far. James already said earlier that Roman Reigns will probably be the guy to replace Cena, which is something we've all spoke about before as well. So let's just we'll go around everyone. Just quickly, I want to see what everyone thinks. When exactly do you think that Reigns will take over Cena's spot on the roster? James, we'll start with you this time.
Bloody hell, that is one hell of a question. And I guess I should answer this as I am the resident Cena fan. Yeah, that's going to get me popular. Guys, he's a hero of mine. Let's just leave it at that. I've got his t-shirt, never give up. That is all. When do I think Reigns is going to take over the entire Goliath of the roster? Dude, that one's a mindfuck. Let me answer the other dudes first and come back to me last.
No
I
problem.
I need.
Okay, Mike, when do you see Reigns taking over from Cena on the main roster? In the case of obvious like bragging rights, so to say.
So you're asking me when's Roman Reigns going to become Super Reigns,
Yeah,
essentially?
basically.
From a non-biased point of view, I would probably say when the minute Cena retires. Honestly, like, I mean, come on, John Cena's like what, 36 or 37 years old now, which I don't know. And Roman Reigns, I don't know how old Roman Reigns is, but he is quite young. So I would imagine if John Cena either can't carry on or he suffers a really fatal injury that costs him his entire career, since they're already building up Roman Reigns to be like, the next John Cena, I don't think WWE would have, that big of a problem on, on deciding who their next big boy is. I mean, it's like, he's gonna be like, oh, John Cena is gone, but hey, we got Roman Reigns. Let's put him as the main baby face. Woohoo! Like, do you see where I'm coming from with this?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, obviously, there's got to be a point where the big dog steps down for the new pup to step up. That's just how it goes. And I like that line. I'm gonna keep that. So Chris, I'll come to you last. So because I know you want to talk about Roman Reigns. So Paul, when do you see Reigns taking over, man?
Taking over John Cena's spot? Never. Because I mean, basically, whenever Cena decides to hang it up, I mean, Cena's a once in a generation type of talent. I mean, he's our Bruno Sammartino, our Bob Backlund, our Hulk Hogan. He is that guy. Do I see Roman Reigns being that guy? No, I don't. Do I see him being the ace of the company? Yeah, sure. I mean, he's going to be the big baby face, but I mean, to me, he'd be more like a Bret Hart, where he's obviously the top guy in the company, but he's not going to go on anybody's Mount Rushmore of best stars of all time.
Ooh, very controversial, but I like it. I think there's a lot of reasoning behind that as well. Chris, you were talking earlier about when speaking of Roman Reigns. Let's hear your thoughts first when you think he's going to take over Cena's spot, and then when do what is it you would like to bring up?
When I think he's going to take over, controversial as this sounds, this WrestleMania when he beats Brock Lesnar. The reason I say this is because I think that Cena Wyatt, I'm hoping, was an insight as to what we can expect to see in the future, and that is Cena working with some of the guys. Cena's a guy that's been around the block now. He's been here for, 10 years, busting his ass. Fair play, the man's been on tour. 10 years, 300 days a year, paid his dues to the company. He's been champion time and time and time again. He's had dangerous spots. He's done a lot of stupid things, and just, he's paid for it. His body's, kind of knackered now. But I'm hoping that what we're going to see now is Cena going away and possibly working with guys in a way that Jericho and RVD are at the moment, especially in the way that Jericho is, and trying to, get the best out of some of these guys. I mean, Cena Ambrose, for example, is a feud that I would love to see, because I'd like to see Ambrose turn into a crazy heel. I'd love to see stuff like Cena Cesaro as a decent feud. I'd like to see, even Cena Reigns is a good feud. I honestly think that Cena is one of those guys that's hopefully going to say, it's time I started helping out a little bit more with the people lower down. And what I wanted to talk about with Reigns was, Reigns is very much a guy who, yes, has the image, no, doesn't have the skill on the microphone. Nobody's going to tell you that Reigns is the best person on the microphone, because he's not. He's Bret Hart on the microphone. He'll sit there and he'll use one tone all throughout his promos, and he'll pull a face that tells you it's 4 out of 10. That's generally how I see Reigns being. And like you said, I think he'll probably be... I'm not sure who it was that said it. I think it was Paul that said he'll be the Bret Hart, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I very much think he'll be the Bret Hart of the company, unless someone like Punk comes back. This isn't just me being a mark, but I think that if Punk comes back, you'll see the company push Reigns as the main guy, but you'll see a lot of it will seem more even than it did with Punk and Cena. It will seem more like Punk is at Reigns' level or above Reigns, and that could cause a few issues.
Yeah, I agree. I'll tell you what, let's get James. You had your answer for this now.
Yeah, yeah. I just remembered. About 2-3 days ago, on the last episode of Raw,
Yeah.
or just during the week just gone, I was on a wrestling website that I was looking at because I get news and dirt sheets through my Twitter feed from a couple of wrestling pages that are actually fans of me, which is awesome. Apparently, Reigns, and bear with me because I don't remember this word for word, but what I do remember is saying, because Daniel Bryan has had such bad injuries in such rapid time, which is unfortunate. I am a big Daniel Bryan fan, but I'm a bigger Batista fan. Hate me if you must. Anyways, apparently Reigns is going to get pushed a lot quicker. Probably not like Cena, but a faster push, but more matured and balanced. I think WWE doesn't... I have a gut feeling, as a fan of Triple H, that Hunter does not want to fuck up pushing Reigns like they did with Cena, because Cena was put into a spot that he wasn't ready for because Lesnar left and all the complications surrounding that and all that crap, if you know what I mean. With Reigns, I think they've got an opportunity here to... Sorry, NXT is on as well. And they've got a chance to push Reigns properly without... And they're going to push Reigns a lot quicker, but they're going to do it properly. They're not going to screw it up. They're not going to They're going to overbook him, but not like Cena. They're going to overbook him where it's supposed to happen, if you know what I mean. Like, say, an Undertaker or whatever like that. I'm not saying Reigns is like the Undertaker. It's that type of booking for where it's booked where it's supposed to be, if you know what I mean. And regarding Reigns taking over Cena, I will say, and I believe Chris said this earlier, at next year's WrestleMania with Lesnar. That is a good prediction. I will say, even sooner than that, possibly Royal Rumble, then creeping through WrestleMania and the rest of the year. And I say Royal Rumble because Reigns did the unthinkable of beating Kane's elimination record. And Reigns is my pick for next year's Royal Rumble, right? Cena has been fantastic with Bray Wyatt. He has pushed Bray Wyatt. One sec, Chris, I'm almost done, mate. Cena has pushed Bray Wyatt as a main event star, right? And here's how. Even though Bray Wyatt lost and got one victory at Extreme Rules, oh, right, 1 second, Chris, I'm just about done, nearly. Give me a second. The more, right, because Bray lost, there were more fans behind Bray Wyatt. And Cena versus Bray Wyatt, that was a great feud. Great test for Cena's babyface character, definitely. It also pushed Bray Wyatt as a main event star, right? Reigns is going to win next year's Royal Rumble and take over Cena's spot. Not instantly, but at the right pace, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Chris, you were wanting to say something, man, so just give me a second, and we will go straight for that. So what's in your mind, man?
So I was just going to say, the rumour that was going around about, because obviously James mentioned the Royal Rumble, the rumour that was flying around a month or two ago was the current plan was for Reigns, Ambrose and Rollins to be the final three in the Royal Rumble this year. So, well, in 2015, obviously. So you may possibly be seeing, a little bit of play on the Shield there. And just again, to build on what James said very, very quickly, what he said about building him properly, I'm calling it now. Reigns will be the one to dismantle the Authority. I'm done.
Reigns will be the one to dismantle the Authority. I think that's a good shout, and I'm going to hit this off as well. Reigns, for me, I think he is going to be that guy that I don't want to say replaces Cena. I think that's possibly the wrong word. I don't want to say dethrones either. I think Reigns will be the guy that sits on top of the company once Cena has left, and basically, he he has the potential. We're all saying he could be that Bret Hart and doesn't need to talk. For me, this is a bit of a strange comparison. I kind of see him in that Batista role. Like, he's the muscle, he's the guy that can get the job done, and he can be a badass when it's needed. I don't see him being a technical wrestler. I see him being a bit of a brawler, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need different styles. We need to mix it up. As far as taking that spot, like I said before as well, Chris, you've covered it. James, you said it. I think WrestleMania is going to happen. I think he wins the title at WrestleMania. I think any time before that, possibly too soon. That's just my opinion. It depends on how they're going to push him. But I think he needs to either beat Brock, like we're saying, or the other option was to have The Rock put him over. Now, The Rock was the guy who beat Cena at WrestleMania, so if Reigns beats Rock, it just makes sense. Like, there is that option. But for the time being, I think we'll cover a little bit of talk about Battlegrounds. We've got 2 weeks to go. Okay, right now we've got, I think, 6 matches announced. Is it 2 weeks to go or 1 week? So, I'm pretty sure it's 2 weeks. But basically, we're going to get Battleground, and so far we've got 6 matches. I think this is the quickest WWE has ever actually built a card in the last year. So, I'm just going to put everyone's mics on for a second, so hopefully if we can take this in turn.
It's 1 week, by the way.
Sorry, what was that?
It's 1 week, by the way. It's on the 20th. It's on Sunday.
Okay, so it's on Sunday. So obviously tonight we can expect a couple more matches to be made. What matches do you guys think we will see on this card, plus the ones that we already have?
Well, Ambrose Rollins even was removed, wasn't it?
Ambrose and Rollins is on the card. I've got the whole match card up here so far of what's been currently announced.
I'm going to say the only thing I see on the card are John Cena, Reigns, Orton, Kane, the Intercontinental Championship, and Jericho Wyatt.
I was going to say...
let me send you guys the link for the match card on Wikipedia.
Okay, go off the one on WWE.com. That's your best bet.
I'm going there now.
Yeah. So basically, I think obviously we're going to get Rusev Swagger. It's going to be one that's added this week. It has to be, or it's a pointless feud. Unless they're going to make it a good reason to not be on Battlegrounds.
That's one I would like to see saved for SummerSlam.
Yeah, do you know what? I agree. I think it's a bigger match than people are letting on, and it's going to be one hell of a fight.
What's this, sorry?
Rusev Swagger. We're saying they should hold it off until SummerSlam rather than push it on Battlegrounds.
I don't think it's going to happen on Battlegrounds, is it? It's not on the card yet.
I think it will be announced tonight. I'm predicting that 186%.
Yeah, because Rusev isn't even booked in the Battle Royal, so.
Yeah, Great Khali is, but Rusev isn't.
Who the hell is the Great Khali?
That's a good one.
That is harsh.
Was that... Sorry, question, or were you kidding, man?
I've won the Google Hangout.
You won the Google Hangout, well done.
MVP for tonight.
What else do you see being put onto this card then? I mean, currently we've got a Divas match.
Karen Naomi.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's going to be held off till SummerSlam. It makes sense.
Yeah, possibly. I still... Yeah.
I'm hoping that we don't get Ambrose Rollins this soon. Save that one till SummerSlam.
Ambrose Rollins will probably carry on till SummerSlam because I think Ambrose is going to keep screwing Rollins 24/7.
Absolutely, and he can do that for the next 4 or 5 months. And,
Oh, yeah.
and I think we'd all be happy.
Who was it that kept screwing Ziggler?
Sheamus.
I don't think it was Sheamus. Oh shit, who was it? Are we on about the Money in the Bank when Ziggler had the briefcase?
Yeah, because there was one person that kept screwing Ziggler for a long time.
AJ. Oh, oops.
Big Show.
I don't think it was Big Show. It was. Oh crap.
It wasn't Cena, was it?
Yeah,
It wasn't Cena. No, it wasn't Cena. Because Ziggler was teasing like crazy to cash in.
Was it Del Rio?
I think Del Rio had part of it, and I think Del Rio was the one that had more to do with it.
Yeah, I think it was Del Rio, Jericho at one point for the first month.
Swagger was possibly one of them because they split as a team before that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Swagger and Ziggler departed as a team.
Yeah, that might have been it. But I remember constantly Ziggler getting screwed, and that was brilliant. Same with Sandow.
Yeah, let's talk about this Rollins Ambrose match because this is going to be a big match.
I think it'll be match of the night.
Right, give it a gimmick. Let's put it on SummerSlam. We'll book it right now. Give it a gimmick and put it on SummerSlam instead of this week.
Oh!
Just make it a street fight. You don't want to put the briefcase on the line yet. You save that till Survivor Series.
No, I would want to keep. I agree. I wouldn't put the contract on the line just yet. What I would like to see is a Falls Count Anywhere match.
I like it.
So these guys can go backstage and beat the crap out of each other and go around the arena and beat the crap out of each other. We can see some Rollins crazy spots. We can see Ambrose go completely insane, throw things around backstage. I'd love it.
I think that's a great option. Another one I was thinking was obviously if you give them some kind of street fight or Falls Count Anywhere, just now, like SummerSlam, like we're talking about, say 3 months down the line at Survivor Series, you can give them a cage match. Because then they've got a reason not to get away from each other.
Or better yet, give them a ladder match for the contract.
I don't know. I don't want to see that contract taken off them.
I want to see it go to Ambrose because at the moment Ambrose seems to be the better worker than Rollins. And if anyone's going to mention that botch on Monday, that was Orton's fault, not Ambrose's.
I think.
Everybody's botched at one time.
Yeah.
So.
I think even if they gave the belt the briefcase to Ambrose, I think in the end the belt will end up on Rollins first because right now, although you're saying that Ambrose is the better worker, it makes more sense to give the lesser of the workers the Money in the Bank to make him look important.
But to me, I think Ambrose is also possibly. I'm not sure if Ambrose is more over than Reigns because sometimes it feels like it with the crowd reaction he gets when Ambrose runs out and screws right.
50-50 with both of them.
What, sorry?
It's 50-50 with Ambrose and Reigns in terms of being really over.
Yeah, those are two guys. I keep saying this, and I'm not sure if James probably hasn't heard this before. I keep comparing Ambrose to Punk. Ambrose to me, we talk about Reigns being the next Cena. Ambrose to me will be the next Punk.
Ambrose to me reminds me a lot of Mick Foley in terms of how crazy Mick Foley was with some of the craziest shit he would do with like the thumbtacks and all that type of stuff.
Which, getting back on topic, would be great to see in a Falls Count Anywhere match as well and stuff like a cage match and gimmick matches in general.
Forget the cage match. Hell in a Cell. No escape.
Hell in a Cell.
You say no escape. You know fine well. You put those two in a cage. They're escaping and going up top.
Oh yes, something has got to happen.
I think right now this is one of the most heated feuds in WWE, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great that they've got that. But I would love to see this level of intensity put into the title picture.
Well, I honestly think that it's just because Ambrose and Rollins have chemistry. Because, I mean, you get those two in an arena. It's probably because they're part of the Shield, possibly not. But especially Ambrose, is full of charisma. Rollins too. You know, you put those two in a match, you put those two even in the same ring together, just screwing each other over or just talking. I sit there and think, holy shit, this is awesome.
Rollins is so much like Jeff Hardy.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you right there.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Jeff Hardy, and I actually like Rollins a lot. The only comparison that I can ever get to these two is the high flying stuff and the hair, and that's it. Now, on top of this, Rollins can talk. I don't want to mock Hardy, but Hardy couldn't talk while he was in WWE. He sucked at it for a long time. It's only really since he's been in TNA he's been allowed to flourish a little bit. Right now, I don't want to say this in a bad way towards Hardy because like he is my favorite wrestler of all time. I think Rollins is miles ahead right now of where Jeff Hardy was at this point in his career.
Oh, absolutely, and this is one of the great things about NXT. I mean, you've got these people coming up like Ambrose, Rollins, Reigns, Wyatt, not so much Cesaro at the moment because he's still finding his feet, but they are a lot more ahead of than some of these people that have, even people that are still currently on the roster, like Kofi Kingston, for example. I'd pick Ambrose over Kofi Kingston any day.
Yeah, I think if it was carrying match, you're probably right there. That obviously Kingston,
But you know,
he's not as talented as Ambrose, but he is great at what he does.
and this is what we've said before about this being going round in circles, and this being the early 90s era of WWE, WWF, whatever the hell you want to call it. They lost to the fucking environmentalist panda bastards, whatever. But you know, the fact that you've got all this new talent coming up. We are heading towards, we've said this before, the new, not exactly attitude era, but the new edgier era, where things seem to be moving a little bit further away from PG than possibly they should be for WWE.
Yeah, I keep referring to. Yeah, you know what? With James, I agree completely as well.
There's a lot of. Sorry.
On you go, man. On you go. I'll let you talk
I've
first.
forgotten your name. Sorry.
Just call me Levels. It's fine.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of realism in terms of the feuds and storylines going on at the moment. And by the way, CJ Parker is shit at wrestling. I'm watching NXT as well. And Kofi Kingston will be forever the Jamaican jobber.
Is someone Jamaican him crazy?
There's a lot of realistic type of feel going on in certain storylines in WWE. Best example I can give recently was Bray versus Cena. It was like watching Batman versus Joker in Dark Knight Returns. WWE, I wouldn't say they're becoming more edgier, but they're getting edgier. But they're being careful about it and balancing both kiddie stuff and adult stuff. Right, and some fans are complaining about that still, right? You need a balance to make it even. You can't have one outscale the other. Like,
you can't have the PG era, for example.
Yeah, nothing wrong with the PG era. It just needs better creative writing, which we are getting thanks to Triple H. Shit, where was I? Oh yeah. Oh, fuck. And we're getting a very good balance of everything. They're kind of like WCW did in their heyday when they were around, when they had Goldberg and Sting and stuff like that. They had something for everybody, right? You had like the Nitro Girls and stuff like that. You had Goldberg, you had Sting. You had the whole NWO shit going on. You had something for everybody. WWE, I'm not saying they're copying WCW's heyday, I'm just saying I think they've taken inspiration from that, whether they'll admit it or not, and they've learned something from it. They're balancing everything out and making something happen for everybody. We've got Reigns versus Triple H coming up at SummerSlam. We've got Cena versus Lesnar, which in my opinion and this will get me shot in the fucking face.
Awesome match.
Exactly. Cena versus Lesnar, right? Not only is it a great test and challenge for Cena's babyface character, which I hasten to add is not done simply enough, will be match of the year.
I'd just like to jump in here quickly for 1 second, because Roman Reigns Triple H, it doesn't look like will happen till Night of Champions. It looks like they're holding off on that for a little while. I think they want to tie it into Randy Orton first and then go into Triple H.
Yeah, that makes sense. Take out the
middleman
first, and then take out the Great White.
Yeah, completely agree. And also, it's like a lot of, again, we've had this discussion more in the past couple of weeks where Lesnar Cena at Extreme Rules when Lesnar first came back was a fantastic match. The only thing that I didn't like was the finish. But yeah, it was a fantastic match. I don't think anyone can really deny that.
I think Cena needed to lose, but also needed to win. I mean, he lost to The Rock, which was, I'll be quite honest, was devastating. All I remember is Cena sat on the entrance ramp crying his eyes out, the poor sod.
I was laughing my ass off.
You know what, right, let's talk about that.
Dog!
Well, let's discuss this for just 2 minutes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mute everyone again and we'll get everyone's opinions one at a time.
Right,
So,
okay.
I want to just kind of hit on that. We just said, or James just said, sorry, that Cena's loss to The Rock was such a big deal. And I mean, you know, it was kind of a shocking upset because everyone expected the part-timer to lose. I don't want to refer to The Rock as a part-timer because he does still do a lot of promotion for WWE, even though he's not officially in the company. So, Paul, what would you say was the biggest WWE WrestleMania upset other than the streak?
Other than the streak, shit. Can I go? I'm gonna go with Benoit beating two Hall of Famers, Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Good choice. You know, quite modern as well and quite controversial considering everyone's afraid to mention Benoit's name. But
this is a Benoit friendly zone. So.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest moments in that year, I would say. I mean, it was definitely a great moment for Benoit, and it was a great moment for a lot of the fans to see as well. Because that's a hell of a choice, actually. I can't put it down in any way.
Thank you. And celebration with Eddie afterwards, you know.
Oh yeah, that was such a big moment. I mean, a lot of fans enjoyed that. Chris, what about you, man? What's the biggest upset other than the streak?
Okay, I'm going to go through one of the ones that is the most ridiculous one in the world, which is simply, this isn't my actual pick, I'm just saying this is one of the most ridiculous ones, was Fandango versus Chris Jericho. Because no one seriously thought in the light God that was actually going to happen. No one really seemed to think that. Other than that, I don't really know. I mean, I have zero idea. Sorry.
Yeah. Do you know what? You made a point there. Going back to something Rancis said last week, WrestleMania has had so few negative, endings to matches, because WrestleMania is that time where the fans are meant to be the ones that go home happy. If you can't make your fans go home happy on your biggest show of the year, then you're doing something wrong. James, what would you say is the biggest upset other than the streak at WrestleMania?
Regarding the Undertaker streak, right? This is not a pick, but I'm just saying I have no problems with Taker's streak being over, and here's why: because Taker hand-picked Lesnar.
Oh yeah, no, that's cool. I mean,
worst upset. Worst upset. I really don't want to say Cena versus The Rock because I really wanted Cena to win. I'll pick something else other than Cena versus The Rock, but I need to get this one off my chest, and I won't rant. I'm a lot more mature about this than I used to be when it first happened. Trust me, right? I wanted Cena to win for a number of reasons, but mainly because he was having something to prove to them bloody critics, right? And I am not a hater of The Rock. I freaking love The Rock. I've already pre-ordered my tickets for the new Hercules film. Enough said, right? It was a dream match that had been talked about for years. Cena, though, did get his rematch, so I'm not that butthurt about it, so that one for me doesn't really count. Biggest upset for me, this one may piss people off, but no, that one's a bit harsh because I will sound like a Daniel Bryan hater.
No, go for it.
But it's not my number one pick, but I will say, as much as I love Daniel Bryan, I still think Batista should have won at WrestleMania. And here's why. And bear with me, guys. Please don't kill me. Just hear me out a second. And by the way, Aiden English fucking rules. How did Batista get his championship opportunity? Royal Rumble. That's how you get an opportunity title match at WrestleMania, is through Royal Rumble. Daniel Bryan did not get his championship opportunity through Royal Rumble. That's just tradition. I'm an old school list person when it comes to booking, right? That's just me. But if I had to pick my number one pick, it would by far have to be, without a shadow of a doubt, probably... Hang on, we're talking about WrestleMania upsets, right?
Yeah, it's got to be WrestleMania.
Right, oh god. Okay, let me think.
I'll tell you what, I'll jump to Mike just now and let you think on it. Mike, what do you think is the biggest WrestleMania upset other than the streak?
I'm probably gonna go ahead with Chris and say Fandango and Jericho. I've actually got two, but this one's one of them. On the first one, I'm gonna go with Chris here and say Fandango and Jericho, because seriously, nobody fucking saw Fandango debut at WrestleMania and go over Jericho. Jericho, of all people. That's one of them. A second upset, this one will be very unfamiliar to you lot, but I'm going to say Eddie Guerrero beating Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 20. I don't know why, but something about that match just screamed that Kurt Angle was going to win, and that's from my point of view anyway. Yeah, here comes Eddie Guerrero with a frog splash, and 1, 2, 3. Did Angle lose to a flippin' Latino lowrider? Huh.
Yeah, you know what, I think it's good. That was another, it was a bit of a shock moment. Not a lot of people expected it, especially with the storyline that went through. So, we'll jump back to James. You managed to...
Oh, dude. Shit, I can't say dream matches either. Ah, damn. Okay, I've got one, and this is as a fan, and it was booked, it was announced, but it was cancelled, right? And allow me to explain why, right? This was the perfect time for this match to happen. Unfortunately, it didn't happen this year, but wishful thinking, it may happen next year, right? Was WrestleMania 25, right? Was the fact that Hulk Hogan versus John Cena had been confirmed. It had been planned, it had been booked and everything. But there was one issue. This may not properly count as a WrestleMania upset, but for me it does. Trust me. As a fan that gets overhyped about everything, trust me, right? Hulk Hogan had recovered from back surgery, but his back went out because apparently his surgeon fucked it up real bad. And the match was cancelled. As a fan, that butt hurt me to shreds because I was looking so madly in love to seeing that match because, Jesus Christ, you cannot deny, whether you love Cena and love him or hate him, you can't deny it's a dream match, and I hope it happens at next year's WrestleMania. That is my WrestleMania upset.
That's cool, man. You know what? That is a bit of a dream match for a lot of people. Cena Hogan, it's two generations meeting again. Obviously, I think this time, sadly, I think Hogan should go over, but I don't see it going that way. But moving on from that, my personal biggest upset at WrestleMania, other than the streak, is either going to be Daniel Bryan losing in 18 seconds, which, you know, a lot of people were like, oh my god, he lost in 18 seconds, they've buried him, oh my god. They didn't bury him, he got over, deal with it. My other one would actually be WrestleMania 16, Triple H winning the main event, because a lot of people, you know, it was a fatal four-way, the match was a bit ridiculous anyway. No one really saw the final match of that pay-per-view being won by a heel. Everything seemed like it was primed for The Rock to win the title walking out of Mania. But they had Triple H do it, and, you know, it was very twisted in the same way. But, you know, it was clever booking on WWE's part, I guess. No one saw it happening, so shock is better than nothing. Okay, so we've got half an hour till Raw. For you, I want to ask one at a time, what is your, you know, we all have guys that we mark out for. So who are we looking forward to seeing the most tonight on Raw? And I don't mean like which guy's going to get the biggest pop. I mean, which guy are you looking forward to the most? Paul?
You know, it's weird because I don't have like a favorite guy anymore. I was thinking about this the other day, because you know everyone has their guy. I don't have a guy anymore. So I guess I'll go with Bray Wyatt, just because you know whenever he's on screen, you're drawn to him. You know, you stop what you're doing, you put your phone down, you're drawn in by him. And it doesn't hurt that his matches are pretty damn good too. So yeah, I guess I'll go with Bray Wyatt. I've been Bray washed. So.
You know, I think I agree with everything you just said. I don't have what you class as a favorite guy, but Bray Wyatt is the one guy that I watch for every single week, no matter what he does. And especially this feud with Jericho at the moment, it's going to be a big deal because both guys are great on the mic. Jericho's great in the ring, and Bray has the opportunity to cement himself. I mean, he didn't go over Cena clean anyway, one-on-one. So, I mean, now he's got the chance to go over Jericho, who's a legend. And if WWE decides that they want him to be a heel, they can have him go over this in such a big way, where Jericho looks like such a big babyface. I think it's really clever booking, personally. Chris, who are you looking forward to seeing on Raw tonight?
Tonight I'm really looking forward to seeing 3 people, to be honest, because I don't have one person. Actually, if I did have one person, it'd probably be Ambrose at this point. I always look forward to seeing Ambrose's matches because I like the energy that he has. I like how he sells. He doesn't oversell, he doesn't undersell. He seems to get it. You know, Ric Flair kind of style, he seems to get it quite well. I love how he sells a move. I can't even understand what James is saying, but okay. But then there's also Reigns, obviously, and you guys have said Wyatt. Yeah, that's yeah.
I think Ambrose is a good choice because obviously Ambrose is the guy. From my opinion, he's the one carrying the feud between Rollins and Ambrose.
Same. I'd also like to point out I'm looking forward. Not a spoiler. There's not technically a spoiler because we don't know what it is, but there's a plan for Wyatt tonight. That's all I'm going to say. I'm looking forward to seeing that now.
I think that's it's a good shout. I look forward to actually seeing that tonight. So thanks for the heads up. James, let's go for you. Who are you looking forward to most seeing tonight?
Well, obviously I look forward to seeing her, but that's mostly every week because he's literally there. So I know I'm going to see him on there, but mostly I'll chuck out number one, just wishful thinking, Sting and Hogan, which is unlikely. Hogan has more of a chance of coming on TV than fucking Sting, but yeah. I'm gonna pick for my most realistic, which is number one, definitely Roman Reigns, who is the new Goldberg in my eyes, just this devastating powerhouse with ridiculous athleticism and a spear that would give Goldberg a good run for his money. And that's saying something. Triple H, big fan of, fucking love Bray Wyatt. Definitely, most likely going to see Jericho. Who else? I would like to say Batista, but I don't see him coming back until SummerSlam. Fine by me. Because
Mike, what you got, man? Who are you looking forward to seeing?
Does it happen? Can it be someone who's not in WWE anymore?
It can be if they're actually going to show up.
Well, I'm kind of predicting since Raw is in Richmond, Virginia, right?
Let's go for it.
No, fuck it. I'm predicting to see Mickey James there, whether it be on the show or in the crowd. I don't care. I'll be surprised if I don't see Mickey on Raw tonight. Honestly, come on, Richmond, Virginia, Raw, guaranteed.
You know what? Should actually be a really good addition to the Divas roster at the moment if they plan to use her well to put another Diva over.
No. I'm not saying like, oh, actually show up in the ring. I mean, well, maybe, but I don't. But well, not really. She's actually pregnant now. But more or less, I'm expecting to see Mickey James in the crowd because if you guys remember, there was one Raw in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Summer Rae was in the crowd, and that was before she was a wrestler. So I'm assuming and I'm expecting the same thing to happen here. Like since Raw is in Richmond, I'm kind of expecting to see Mickey James there in the crowd. Like you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I think that's a good choice actually. I mean, it'd be interesting to see her. Chris, you've said it in the comments. I'm going to say it in the hope that it actually does happen. In fact, let's officially 186% this. We get Damien Stingdown. We said it 2 weeks ago, we've said it 1 week ago, and now I'm predicting it 186% of the time that we get Stingdown. All that has to happen is the music hits and Stingdown walks to the ring. It doesn't matter whether it gets over with the crowd or not, because they will boo him to high hell the minute it's shown as Sting. Sorry, as Sandow. That's what I get for saying Sting too much. And the other option, as as I'm seeing it anyway, is that we either get Sting down, and Sting attacks him and announces then that he's going to be the guy in the game. I really hope that they lay the whole Sting thing until the end of Raw, because I'm sick of the big moment being right at the beginning of Raw. A lot of you guys will have noticed, over the past couple of weeks, the Authority will come out and they'll announce something big, something big that's going to happen at the end of Raw. I used to like surprises on my Raw. I don't know about anyone else, but a little tease, maybe. Like, Raw could start, you could have 10-15 minutes of the Authority talking, as they always do. Then you have the bat. The single bat, lights go out, lights come up, bat appears hanging on the Tron, or at least swinging in front of the Tron. Another option for this, if Sting does show or teases to show, is you just have the mask. You have him lay out two superstars, such as Damien Sandow, dressed as Sting. You have him lay him out in the dark, and when you come back, he's got the Sting mask pulled over his face. Just an option, not saying it's going to happen, but it's a hell of a chance. We've got 15 minutes, guys. Let's get your final thoughts on what's going to happen on Raw tonight. We'll start with Chris. Chris, what you got for me? What's going to happen on Raw?
Okay, we've already discussed Damien Stingdown. If you want to put in the comments that you didn't see with Damien Flair.
Yeah, Damien Flair is a good shout as well. Instead of
Uh,
Damien Flair, you get Damien Flair.
yeah, will I get Damien Sting down with Damien Flair? When you mentioned about Sting teasing, I'd just like to say, don't have the bat swinging, don't have them with a mask on the floor. Have the Vulture appear.
Yeah, I would love that. I suggested that for WrestleMania, and the Vulture would be perfect. However, if they don't have the Vulture, I'm happy just to hear him out on the floor, and then you could even leave the black coat over the top of him.
I'd just love to see a vignette with the. You know how they used to have the little boy talking and he used to say, like when Sting first debuted in WCW, they had that vignette with the little boy.
Yes,
Yeah, I'd love to hear that kind of voice because that would just be. Everyone would instantly know it, but
that's
it'd be such a great tease.
a good shout. Let's move on.
Well, hold on, just to be more realistic here, what I expect to see tonight is stuff typical Ambrose, Cruz, Rollins, etc., etc. I do expect to see end of the night Reigns, Spears, Cena. That will end the show.
Yeah, that's a good shout actually. Mike, what you got? What's your predictions for Raw tonight? What do you expect to see?
I don't really expect much, just to see Mickey James in the crowd. Honestly, that's all I really 186% expect.
Oh, cheap pop, cheap pop. Okay, James, what have you got?
Other than the Sting and Taker fantasy booking and the Cena versus Hogan fantasy booking, I will say in regards to Chris that Cena will beyond sell that spear from Roman Reigns, which is most likely to happen because there has been a bit of a tease from their taunt from last week's Raw, which was fucking awesome. I'm going to also predict, and getting the Sting thing out of my head, which it will happen. We know it will, right? We're going to have some Triple H Roman Reigns confrontation and Reigns spearing Orton in front of Triple H.
Good
And
shout.
it'll be like friggin' Batman saying to Joker, "I'm coming for you. You're
It's like
next."
sacrificing the lamb in front of the stable boy, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
No
That'd be
problem.
awesome.
Paul, what have we got, man?
It's going to be a
186%
go-home
logic.
show. You're going to have Roman Reigns standing tall there at the end, just to tease, that he does have a chance on Sunday. As far as anything to go with Sting, I think it's just going to be something. It's going to be underwhelming. I'm going to say, that it's just going to be something to do with the video game. And I called last week that Damien Sandow would be dressed up as Ric Flair. So
Oh, Ric Flair, good shout.
I'm sticking to that one.
Cool. James, I'll let you finish one thing, and then I'm going to give my thoughts on this.
Oh, if you guys haven't seen it, go to my YouTube channel and check out my markout video for Hulk Hogan returning in February of this year. And if Sting does come on tonight, you'll see another markout video, and check out for that. Nerdgasm overload, guys. Seriously. You'll crease up in stitches.
Cool. Yeah, basically my thoughts for Raw tonight. We are by far, I'm going to say this right now. We've all booked Sting in our own way. It doesn't matter. Like Paul said, Sting will come back and it will be underwhelming. It will not meet anyone's expectations because we all have set ourselves such high expectations. This is life as it goes on. Welcome to fan booking. If you don't know what fan booking is, be sure to check our blog since we're plugging everything here. You guys know fine well that I'm a huge Sting fan, but I honestly don't think it's going to happen as a huge thing. It's going to be something small. If they decide to tease a match with Sting later on in the year, I expect it around Royal Rumble time. I don't expect it right now. Again, I think we get Sting down, possibly Flair, as we're saying, Damien Flair, or Rick Sandow, however they go around it. You know what? We're all talking about Reigns and about this match is a fatal four-way. We need to remember that. They need to make sure that everyone going into we need to make sure that everyone going into this match looks damn strong. It can't just be Reigns that looks like a powerhouse. So I think in this 6-on-6 match that's been announced for Raw tonight, you're going to see everyone look strong, and the heels are probably going to lose. Baby faces go over, and then I think you're going to have Reigns attack everyone, right? They're going to try and make it look like he's a badass that doesn't care. You will have Reigns try and attack him. Either that or you get a back-to-back moment, much like we did years ago with Rock and Austin, on a much smaller scale. You'll get Cena and Reigns fighting everyone off, and they'll go back-to-back with each other, turn and go to attack. Raw will finish there, right? That needs to be your lead-up finish towards your Fatal 4-Way for this year. And I say this year because I don't want to see another Fatal 4-Way, because they're so confusing at times. Just final thoughts. Obviously, you know, we all go into Raw with high expectations. I actually urge everyone who's listening tonight, go into Raw with all technology like your mobile phone, turn it off. Just sit in front of your TV or your computer screen, however you're watching it, and watch Raw on your own. Mark out when you want to mark out. Enjoy the fucking show, right? Because people spoil it for themselves. They go off and read spoilers. Put your technology down. Stop reading tweets. Stop doing Facebook updates. Sit and enjoy the show. If it's shit, tell people it's shit. But don't read spoilers. You're going to love the show if you do that. Your expectations are lowered, so everything gets better. Facts. Okay, guys. This has been your Raw pre-show tonight. If you're going to be with us tomorrow, make sure you check out Lowdown. A big thanks to Chris and Paul, who are here every single week with us. Big thanks to James and Mike, who joined us this week.
Little thing before we have to finish.
Go on, man.
You know how we talked about Roman Reigns and John Cena and a little bit of Randy Orton, but there was one person who we left out from this Fatal 4-Way.
Kane doesn't matter.
What?
Kane is the big boss man. We've already been over this.
No. What I'm trying to say is that I believe that Raw will end tonight with Kane looking strong, heading to Battleground. You know, you'll probably have chokeslam everyone again, and then the usual corner pyro flame things or whatever. So that's my prediction for the end of Raw is Kane chokeslam, you know, standing over everyone and just being Kane.
Yeah, man. You know what, that's a really good shout, actually, because a lot of people are doubting that Kane is actually in this match for a good reason other than to help Orton. So why not make it look like he's going to take out Orton as well, and make it look like he's going to go rogue for himself, like I suggested. If Kane goes rogue, then they hire Lesnar to come in and take him out, the same as they did with the Dead Man. Lesnar takes out both Brothers of Destruction, then whoever beats Lesnar at WrestleMania is going to look so much bigger.
That'll be easily, by far, Roman Reigns.
Yeah, you know what's a good
Reigns
option as well.
Spear the shit out of Lesnar.
But like I just said as well, Mike, that's a perfect example of like what I call armchair booking. There's no reason it can't happen. There's no reason it won't happen. We can only hope for the best. So like I said, guys, turn off all your mobiles, turn off all your Twitter, your Facebook. Go and watch the show and enjoy it. But if you guys are back with us tomorrow night, we are here with Lowdown at the same time. We're going to be talking all things Raw Fallout, and we're going to be taking all the questions we can from people on Twitter.
I'm assuming that would be the Raw review.
It's kind of like a Raw review, for those of you who don't know. It's kind of like our version of a Raw Fallout, but it's more like a chat show. What we do is we'll take topics, everyone will go around, and we discuss them in depth.
Basically, analyze the whole show, then.
No, we don't analyze the show, nothing like that.
We just talk about what we like, didn't like, where we see it
Oh,
going.
right, dissect it, basically. Oh, right, I'm with you.
Yeah, well, it's kind of dissecting, but at the same time, we also don't like to go too in depth because we feel when other shows do that, they give away too much the spoilers in case anyone listens. So we just want to keep it brief to say that's what we enjoyed, this is what we didn't enjoy, and here's what's going to happen. So if you guys are interested in listening to that, make sure that you've got us here tomorrow night. We've been Levels of Wrestling. You can get us on Twitter at Leveler LOW, and you can also check our blog out, which is levelsofwrestling.blogspot.com. One at a time, guys. If you fancy plugging anything, this is your chance. Chris, I'll let you go first. I know you've got a new Twitter account that you maybe want to say.
Nope, I'm not going with that Twitter account. I'm going back with Lamby332, Lambey 332 on Twitter.
Oh, you saucy devil. Mike, you got anything you want to throw out there that you want to plug?
You're not funny and nobody likes you.
Thanks,
No.
James, what you got to plug, man?
I'm fucking creasing up here, by the way, just saying. If you want my Twitter, my YouTube, and everything else, it is all on my Facebook fan page, www.facebook.com/FearTheSpear1990. And, by the way, one last thing. For Battleground, this weekend on Sunday, do you guys all want to do a live reactions with me? And
If it's live, I'm possibly going to have to pass, but I'm sure a lot of our listeners will probably be in for that, man.
fair enough. Whoever's up with doing a live reactions with me with webcams enabled, it would be awesome than staring at a black screen. No offense.
See you guys later then. Thanks for joining us,
Awesome.
and enjoy Raw.
Peace, brother!